name is Alex Green. I'm the host and creator of the Kentucky High School Wrestling State Championship Review Series. No matter where I go, whether it's to the West Virginia border, all the way out to Hoptown, Northern Kentucky, on the Tennessee border, Lexington, Louisville, anywhere in between, everybody that I talk to, whether it's in person, social media, whatever the case is at wrestling meets, they love bringing out the history aspect of it. Stuff that we thought was lost forever, but people begin to dig. They found videotapes, DVDs, whatever it may be, of their family, stuff from schools, wherever it may be. They gave it to me, but I was doing some research a while back for the Most Outstanding Wrestler video that is on the channel as well, where we highlight every single state tournament, Most Outstanding Wrestler. I come across something very interesting that I had to do a video on. It was from the KHSAA magazine called The Athlete from January 1965. I was doing my research, getting photos for our most outstanding wrestlers from the early 60s, and I come across this article, and I was like, I've got to do a video on it. And it's on page, you guys are going to see what I'm reading, of course, but it's on page 16, and the title is called How to Watch a Wrestling Match. Pretty good title, I guess, for a sport that is really new to the state. Now let's go back and do a little bit of history just for a second. From multiple credible sources, Jack Klein, we all know Jack Klein, we love Jack Klein, senior official in Kentucky. He told me when I first started the series that Kentucky started wrestling in 1962, but we didn't have an organized KHSAA state tournament till 1964. So we had 2 years of wrestling without the KHSAA, but you got to realize what was going on back in the 60s. It really wasn't, there was 10 teams represented at the first state tournament, so it wasn't like it hit the masses yet. But the KHSAA knew that wrestling was, I guess, growing. More schools were picking it up even after its first year. And believe it or not, kids, we just always couldn't go to our phones or our tablets or whatever it is and Google, YouTube, whatever it is, the topic that you want to learn about. We had to get these things called magazines or newspapers. I know. Ask somebody born, I guess, before the year 2000 about what a magazine or newspaper is. But this is an article that I found so interesting, and we're going to compare to what we have now. And what's cool about this is I actually have the 1969 state championship footage. So I don't have any footage from 1965. 1969 is the closest that I have. So I'm going to, as I'm reading, I'm going to insert some action shots, some footage from the 1969 state tournament, and just see what goes on here. So the article starts off, you guys are going to see this. It says, how to watch a wrestling match. And it starts off, what's happening? First, both wrestlers come forward from the corners of the mat, get instructions, shake hands. That's still something that we do today. But as you're going to notice, the wrestlers start on the 10-foot circle. Now, there were the referee start lines, but they did not start on the lines like we do today. Next, referee blows whistle and gives signal for wrestle. That's still something that we do today. Every match, blow the whistle, start, and you're seeing that that's what happens here. Now, each wrestler is trying to control the other by getting behind or on top of him. A takedown. First points are likely to be given for a takedown. When a wrestler gets a takedown, the referee signals 2 points with the right hand. Now, as you're noticing from this footage and these still shots, referees did not wear wristbands back then. Wrestlers did not wear ankle bands. Or I have footage from the 87 state tournament and the 89 state tournament, 90 state tournament. Somewhere around the 88-89 season is when Kentucky started using referee wristbands. Before, I've got 86, 85, 83, 82, 81. Referees were not wearing wristbands. They were still pointing at the wrestler and holding up their signal, whether it's 2 points, reversal, penalty, whatever. They would point and then signal. So that is something that has changed. Then the defensive wrestler, usually on bottom or down, is trying to escape or reverse his position. Offensive wrestler, usually on top or up, is trying to get a hold with which he can keep his opponent's shoulders on the mat for 2 seconds. A fall or a pin. That's still the goal. You wrestle to get a pin or a fall. So that really hasn't changed a whole lot. Every match has 3 periods, each 2 minutes long. Still the same. First period starts from standing or neutral position. That's still the same. Second period starts from the referee's position. That is still the same. Now here is where it gets tricky, or I guess a change has come in. Choice of position is decided by a toss of a coin. It does not say a referee flip disc. It says a coin. Now, I don't know if that's like an actual currency coin, something that was made up, or even if it was a red and green style coin. It just says coin. Now, in wrestling today, and even as far back as like in the 80s, you can choose, when you get the choice, up, down, neutral, or defer. This is what it says. Choice of position is decided by a coin toss, with winner choosing either up and down. So there was no neutral and no defer, it seems like, in 1965. Also 69 too. We'll have to have an historian, maybe Coach Bedita or Jack Klein or somebody that was around the sport, way back when, could tell us that. Third period starts with position at start of second period reversed. So if you chose down, you were going top. It says it was reversed. I'm not sure if there were any other exceptions or whatever, but that's a kind of neat little tidbit. Scoring. And nowadays, we have what's called team points, which is cumulative for a team score, whether it's a dual meet or individual bracketed tournament for like a team overall championship like our state tournament. And we have what's called match points, which is the individual match. Here in the 1965 rule book or rule, it says mat points. So we had team points and mat points back then, which is kind of cool. Takedown, 2 points, which is still the same. When a wrestler gets behind or on top of opponent from neutral or standing position. Here's something that I didn't know. Subsequent takedown, 1 point. So to me that reads, once you get a takedown, you get 2 points, and if you laid him up, whatever the case is, the next takedown you would get will be worth 1 point, which is kind of cool. Escape, 1 point, still the same. Getting out from underneath opponent to standing or neutral position facing him. That's still the exact same. Reversal, 2 points. Getting out from underneath opponent and behind or on top of him by 1 maneuver. Near fall, 2 or 3 points. Holding an opponent's shoulders to or near mat, but not close enough for fall or pin. Now, let's talk about that just for a second. It says 2 or 3 points. In the 1969 video, I watched it, and there's no count like we do today. There's no signaling from the shoulder, anything like, giving your 3, 2, and then pointing to the shoulder. There's none of that in 1969 video. 2 or 3 points, it doesn't say, but I would have to imagine that's still a 2 to 4 second count for the 2 points and a 5 count for 3 points. I don't know that for certain. Maybe somebody that wrestled back then can enlighten us. We know a lot of people, watch the series that wrestled back when wrestling started in Kentucky, so maybe we can get some help on that. Stalling, 1 point to opponent. Doesn't say anything about a warning. I guess once you got hit for stalling, it was automatic 1 point. Illegal holds, roughness. Technical foul, 1 or 2 points. Now, this is not my words. This is in the book. It says technical foul, 1 or 2 points to offended boy. Again, not my words. It's what's in the book from 1965. You got to realize what we're dealing with here. Decision. 3 points for team awarded to team whose wrestler scores the most mat points, neither having secured a pin. default or forfeit, 5, and a draw, which I didn't even know you could have a draw, 2 points to each team. So apparently there was no overtime back then. If you got the same score and the time expired after the 2 or 3 2-minute periods, you got a draw. I don't think any of the state tournament matches ends in a draw. I've done my research on that. I think they're all is a first and second place. But that's still kind of cool. Again, this is on page 16 from the January 1965 KHSAA magazine called The Athlete. So it was cool to do this, be able to insert the images, the action footage of what I'm reading off here. And also I want to say thank you to Dean Williams Sr. and Dean Williams Jr. Both, we've done Dean's video, but Dean's dad was a 1964 for Seneca, 1964 third place, 1965 and 1966 state champion. You guys are going to see the medals that were awarded to the 1964, 1965, and 1966 place winners. It's kind of cool that we were able to get. I think that's one of the best pieces of memorabilia we've been able to get out, and they're in great condition. So we have medals from present day, 90s, 80s. We don't have anything from the 70s yet, but the 1964 medals and the 1965 to 1966. That way we can kind of see our history. I love doing this, being able to present this. So I've got a few more of these, the way it used to be, I guess, type videos that we're going to add into our state championship review series. That way we can document this history and have it forever and pass it on like it should be from generation to generation, so that way we know it's not lost. That's all I got for this video. We'll see you guys on the mats.